Uh, welcome, y'all. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Lesson Over Time with your host, Miss Vicky. Time, it teaches us so many lessons.
Hey y'all, hey, welcome back to another episode of Lessons Over Time. I am the host, Miss Vicky. I'm also known as Mom, and yes, I switched it up because I'm better known as Grandma. And this summer, I'm going to be having, as I do every summer, all four of my grandchildren. My two oldest ones are now 13, and that's what I want to talk about. We call that number 13 the devilish demonic number, and the Bible doesn't say anything about the age 13 being demonic at all. It's just something that's superstitious, something that we say all the time. I am guilty of it too. I often say, oh, they're at that devilish age. But they're actually at a stage in life designed by God to get them to the next phase in life. We all go to different stages, but this stage is probably the most hardest because they are stepping out of being an infant, a little kid, a toddler, a little boy into almost manhood. And so it's kind of confusing because they're no longer little boys and they're not quite adults or men. So it's that in-between stage that is so confusing because they're trying to prove themselves. And, it's a lot to go at that stage. A lot of things are changing mentally, physically, emotionally, their attitude. We call them, oh, they got an attitude, but they're just trying to get through this stage in life that they're going through. And I often have to remind my sons that you too went through this and you survived and I survived it. And you just have to make sure that you are doing your due diligence as a parent. Now, I didn't have grandparents when I came up, and my kids, my mother wasn't really trying to be a grandparent like that. So it was difficult. Sometimes I would have to parent over the phone. I would have to, before we had cell phones on my job, I would bring my mail back, honey. If my kid was acting up, I would bring my mail back to the office and tell my boss I was taking an hour lunch. And I would run home, and I always made sure I didn't work far from home. So I would run home and run up on my kids. And yes, I did. And go back to work as if nothing happened. But I would have to sometimes go home and correct my children when their dad was not available. But again, you have to make sure you don't give up on them. It is hard. It is difficult, but it is survivable. And we have to make sure nowadays we are really checking on their mental health. I tell my grandchildren all the time, hey, let's go to eat out to eat, and I will make sure I drill them. I will talk to them. They get to that age and it's everything. I'm good. Yeah, good. No, and they don't look up from their cell phone, but I still continue to drill them because that is my job. Now, I didn't have grandparents. I don't know what being a grandma even looked like. I'm winging it. And I check with God and I said, God, am I doing okay? Tell me what to do in this stage and tell me how to get through this. It was easy when they were little. I understood that. But when they get to be this age and things now today are a lot different, oh, honey, you better believe I call on Jesus every chance. Oh, God, I need you. And there's something about, I've often heard when you wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning to pray, I just try to be obedient. I pray, I give them to God. I tell them about the Lord, whether they want to hear it or not, because I know in this life without God, it's impossible to make it. So I make sure I am trying to pour into my grandchildren, doing my part as a grandmother. And I tell my kids, one thing you cannot do is give up. I don't care how hard it gets, you cannot give up. You have to turn off your TV. I don't care if it's Monday Night Football or what's going on. Sometimes you got to put that ish aside and deal with what's in front of you, which is your kid. Because my mom used to say, the life I saved may be your own. And you do not want to turn them over to a reprobate mind or give them over to the streets, because once you do, there is no getting them back. So I tell my children, you have to make sure that you are present in your kid's life. And communication is number one. Whether you think they're not listening or they listening, keep talking. Keep talking, because I will keep talking to my grandchildren. I will call them on the phone. And I got two that live out of state, but I will call them, and he don't tell me the truth. I know. I say, how was your day? How is school going? Good, good. He give me that one liner. So I know you ain't telling me the truth, but it's okay, because you're going to ask me for something, and you're going to come over in the summertime, and I'm really going to find out the truth. So, I really try and make sure that I am present, and they know that grandma gives a darn in what's going on in their life. And I just try to stay, relevant in their life, whether they want to or not. Now, if they don't want to come to California over to my house, I know why, because something ain't right. So I tell my kids to make sure you checking. When you see a real big shift in their attitude and everything, oh, okay, something is really going on. But you can't run from it. You have to run to it, and you got to get through it. And those are just lessons I learned over time raising my children. What are some of the lessons you learned over time? And just remember, the number 13 is not demonic. It's not. It is God's design. Even at my age now that I am, once I retired and now I hit the age of 60, things are going on with my body. Things are changing in my life that, I don't yet understand sometimes. And so, it makes you think, well, sheesh, am I going cuckoo, or am I just imagining, or is that pain really real, or what's that? We all go through different stages in life. And guess what? With God, we could survive it all. We really can. Again, those are lessons I've learned over time. And with that being said, that's about it. Peace. Whew, teenagers, what's really going on? It's called growth. Even Jesus grew in wisdom and stature. And you can find that in Luke 2:52. So don't fear the number. Embrace the season. Guide them. Pray for them. Love them through it. And with all of your getting, get an understanding. Follow the light and go with God. You won't go wrong. Bye.